What the hell is going on here? What the hell? Sorry about that, y'all. Damn, what did I do with those beats? I might have to go without them. I don't think I deleted them. Damn. Because when I did the graveyard podcast, one of my boys had like sent me like 3 beats, and I used one of them. Yeah, I didn't set this thing. So give me a second, y'all. There we go. See how that works. Y'all gonna hear echo, so give me a second. Podcast. One of my boys had like sent me like 3 beats, and I used one of them. Get a little volume here. Oh, I got to turn them. Yeah, I didn't set this thing, so give me a second, y'all. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I'm hearing the playback now. I'm just waiting for the beats to kick in. See how that works. See, Slim, what's good? I'm gonna hear echo, so give me a second. Podcast. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm hearing the playback now. I'm just waiting for the beats to kick in. Yeah, the beats ain't working. Damn. Oh well, we can go without it. It ain't the end of the world. So what's everybody been up to? It's been obvious what I've been up to. Getting down on this quest 2. Been absolutely loving it. And shout out to everybody that's here. Thrash, Six, C Slim, Golfer, Test. Appreciate it. And I think it was a wonderful weekend, not just for myself, man. I really enjoyed watching my friends play the Ghost of Tsushima co-op. You know, it looked like a lot of fun. I did a show earlier today with 7 Degrees of Gaming, his show Looking for Unicorns, and we talked about that. And I don't know if Sucker Punch intended to do it this way, but I felt like the co-op for Ghost of Tsushima should have been there right from the start, because let's be honest, you know, Sony's games are great games, but they're single player games. And for some people that buy the physical disc of the game, some people will play that game and then trade it in while it's still worth something. I could have been one of those people. I might have given it away, or I might have tried to trade it in on another game, and then this co-op come out. Now I got to go back and get the game again. I'd be pissed. So I think they kind of should have like let that be known right from the start, so those who buy the physical copy of the game won't get rid of it as soon as the story's over. So myself, you know, I'm so hooked on VR that, honestly speaking, I've seen pieces of the Ghost of Tsushima story, and it looks like a great story. I've tried to stay away from it on the chance that one of these days I'll come back and take a look at it. But I will say that the game has been out long enough that it's at the point where I would like see if I can catch the game on the low for $30 or less. Um, if that happened, then I might go ahead and scoop it, because there is a bunch of VR games coming down the pipe that I want. Not to mention the $900 that I dropped to get those 3 headsets. So speaking of VR, you know, I didn't really got anything specific to talk about. I just decided to just jump up and do this podcast because I was thinking, you know, it was like, as far as people doing VR podcasts, we don't got that many of them anymore. Um, you know, we still got Gamertag doing the VR link in the middle of the week, but after that, most of the VR podcasts that I see happens on the weekend. You know, Coffee and VR, Rendered Reality, you know, F Reality, those happens on Saturday. Um, Anthony, VR 365, he's slowed down quite a bit. And he used to do it every day. Then it went, from Tuesday to Thursday. Now it's kind of gotten to, whenever he gets around to doing it. So there goes that. So that's another show that's kind of lost that I can't see. So with that being said, yeah, it's not too many VR podcasts out there. So I think that's, I guess that helped me make a decision in what direction that I want to go in. Because if you guys notice, I haven't been doing that many podcasts lately. I've been playing a lot of games, and a couple of months ago, I really wanted to talk a lot about the PS5, but honestly, I felt myself slipping back into that console war because, this shit has gotten absolutely crazy. It's gotten to the point where I tried not to point direct fingers, but on the outside looking in, telling it like it is. Whenever something gets said about the PlayStation, somebody's got to come along and try to discredit it, try to trash it, spread propaganda, outright lie, and then we have a situation where, a lot of other YouTubers from the other side have to come along and challenge what's being said, or we have a situation where even the developers have to jump in and say, no, this is what it is. This is what the resolution is going to be. This is how many puddles is there. This has gotten crazy. And damage control is one thing, but deliberately spreading lies and misinformation about a platform is not cool. So it was getting to the point where, okay, Sony says something's got ray tracing or RDNA. Here comes somebody saying that's a lie, even though you heard it straight from Sony's mouth. And then here we go. We fighting again. And so it's like, I really got tired of that shit, and I decided to fall back. And it wasn't a lot of VR news going on, and it's like this console wars just gotten. I'd never thought in my wildest dreams it would get this damn crazy, where people spreading lies about shit that they can't prove because they don't have it in their hands yet. So, but so with that being said, yeah, what I know about what's going on with the PS5, a lot of it comes from, the Roundtable and Sick Humor. But other than that, I haven't really been getting that close to it, because the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to worry too much about the PlayStation 5 until I start getting VR news from them, But it will be cool to see these unboxing videos, Sick, Thrash, C Slim, and anybody in here that's going to get a PS5. I hope you do an unboxing video, because I absolutely enjoyed watching that this week with the Oculus Quest 2, watching all the unboxing videos. I don't care if you got 2 subs or you got 2 million subs. I really enjoyed watching all the unboxing videos, the game streams, the opinionated videos. It was really fun. So for us VR people, the release of the Oculus Quest 2 was our PS5 moment, and so I thoroughly enjoyed it. He said, does it really surprise you? To a degree, yeah, because I never thought it would get this bad, where they deliberately lie just to, I kind of said it before in Twitter, in the Roundtable podcast, that I think as a YouTuber that's covering a certain platform, I'm not going to say that it's your obligation to deliver truth, but I will say that I don't think it's cool to deliberately spread lies. Me, for instance, as small as my channel is, there are some people that want more information about certain VR headsets, and I think it's my obligation to give them as much information as possible, as well as I know it. If I'm wrong about something, I don't have a problem being corrected, but if they ask me something, hey, this is what I think, this is the reports that I've seen, this is what people are saying. to deliberately say, hey, the PlayStation's catching on fire, and you haven't even had one in your hands yet. So that kind of stuff is just not cool. C Slim, you said day one PS5 will do an unboxing. Yeah, I figured you'll do an unboxing, C Slim, because I've been watching your game streams lately. So Matrix, PS5, PSVR 2 likely going to be released next year. So with that being said, I got plenty of time before I have to worry about that. It's going to hurt though the minute Sony says something about Gran Turismo in VR in the same breath. That's when it's going to start to hurt. That's when I'm going to like yo, I got to get a PlayStation quick. So sick. You said Xbox is on the brink of extinction and a lot of people are trying to keep their jobs. I would definitely agree. It's absolutely insane. Matrix, the rumors are getting out of hand. It really is. It's in I might comment or like on the mudslinging that's going on Twitter. That's cool. It is what it is, but to jump up on YouTube and tell lies, I just don't think that's cool. Drew, the only way to grow is to be truthful. I think so. Oh, well, yeesh. I have to be honest. I think if you get caught up in that console war shit, your channel could grow. Honestly speaking, when I first came to YouTube, I got a lot of help from Thrash, from Sick Humor, Craig Harris, Titanfall Princess. The list goes on and on and on. Especially when I was doing the Lincoln Show. I think I did like 15, 17 episodes of the Lincoln Show. And a lot of the guests on there had way more subs on me. So as far as I'm concerned, I had big YouTubers on the show. That got me going, and getting caught up in this console war helped me grow. And then when I made the jump to VR and wasn't talking about the console war, my channel, as far as I'm concerned, became stagnant. I would lose a sub and I would gain a sub. So I think I would lose a sub that's like, oh, he's not talking about console war shit no more, and they probably leave, and then I would gain a VR sub. So that part of it is what it is. I still feel fortunate to have all the subs that I have, and looking back at it now, no disrespect to Sick and Thrash, but I've seen the way their channels have been growing to the point where they can't even watch the entire chat anymore. I watch their shows, and it'll be anywhere from 300 to 500 people watching their podcast, and the chat is just going crazy. You can't keep up with all that stuff. I want to interact with people. So that being said, I'm perfectly fine where I'm at. Said console war equals terrible growth. Exactly. It's that Jerry Springer type of growth. I want to feel like, looking at me, I want to feel like what you're seeing right here, this is what you're going to see when the camera gets turned off. And I'm going to give you, the information as best as I know it, or entertain you, I guess, my way. Thrash, it's good they left. Fake ass gamers that only want drama is wild, definitely. Drew, okay, so no point growing if you don't mean what you say. 100%. That's another reason why you guys haven't been seeing like podcasts from me lately, because I had to really think about which direction do I want to go. I'm definitely staying in VR, but I'm like, okay, do I want to start upping the production values of my streams and start trying to make them look professional? Do I want to start trying to get the attention of these devs and that kind of stuff? But then I stopped and thought about it. I don't want to get handed a product or get handed a game and have to lie about it. So Um, no disrespect to the people that's been getting these Quest 2s, because like Facebook sent out a ton of these Oculus Quest 2s to YouTubers. And shout out to Eric Hartley. You know, he's got 1,400 subs, and Facebook sent him a Quest 2. And honestly speaking, I thought like only the like super big YouTubers was going to get one. You know, Nathy, Micah, Virtuality Oasis, Tyrell Wood. You know, and I figured he was going to get one, even though he doesn't have near amount of subs as like Nathy. He's a tech guy, so he will get in there and you know, find out the specs and give you the through the lens videos, that kind of stuff. So I figured he was going to get one. Cass and Cherry, they were sitting on, I think, at about 30,000 subs when they got one. But I figured, you know, they should have got one because it's not too many female VR content creators out there. So I figured they would get one from that aspect. But other than that, I figured they had to be super big YouTubers. So Eric Hartley got one. He's got 1,400 subs. That made me feel like, hey, if I would have worked a little bit harder, maybe I could have got a Quest from Facebook. But at the same time, I don't want to be in a situation where they like, we want you to say this, we want you to say that. You can't say this, you can't say that, you can't show this, you can't show that. So that's why when October 13th came around, I said as consumers, that was our day to shine, because that's the consumers' day to do the unboxings, to do the game streams and the reviews and stuff. And what I'm telling you about the Quest, I bought it with my own money. So everything that's coming out of my mouth is my opinion. So I wasn't under any NDA or told I can't do this or can't say that kind of stuff. Sick. To me, it's timing. It gets to the point where I'd rather not stream. I'd just rather play games, but they don't come through for gameplay, but will listen to you talk about Xbox versus PlayStation all day. It's still the same thing here. As far as gameplay streams goes, the only time I get a lot of traffic whenever I'm doing gameplay streams is whenever I'm testing a new game. Other than that, even though I don't get, thousands of views and stuff like that, most of the views do come from podcasts rather than gameplay. So when I was doing those Star Wars Squadron streams, it started out okay, but then it just started dipping. Said Matrix, yeah, the problem of getting this for free, that makes it harder for you to criticize the product. Yeah, exactly. So, but even though I bought my Oculus Quest 2 with my own money, realistically speaking, you probably gotta believe I'm not gonna have too many terrible things to say about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought 3 of them. And the first one, and I talked about that too. With I don't like the way these pre-orders went down with the Oculus Quest 2. I've been saying that for all week, screaming into the mountaintop that there is no way that people should have been able to walk in off the street and get an Oculus Quest 2 before the people who pre-ordered. I pre-ordered mine the very day that they had that Oculus Connect and gave us a date and gave us a price. As soon as it was over, on my lunch break, I pre-ordered it right then and there. And then Walmart's telling me that I won't get mine until like 2 or 3 days after the fact. So I go into Target the very day that it got released, just walked in and walked out. I feel like I bought a burner phone. So I bought that one, and then I still got my other 2 from the pre-order that came in on Thursday. So I feel like I got a mistress and a main chick. I got hooked up. I went and picked up the mistress on Tuesday, and then the main chick flew home from vacation or whatever Thursday. Drew would rather hear you chat than play games. I can play by myself. I get that. I'm the same way. I can be honest. somebody's playing a game, if especially if they're playing a new game, I can check it out, and then. But yeah, I'll be honest. More than anything, I'm listening to podcasts. But something else to keep in mind is that I'm listening to these podcasts while I'm at work. I can't, uh, that's awkward listening to gameplay while you're at work. I will do it occasionally. Like if the person is playing sounds like if they're doing it with a bunch of friends and it sounds like they having a lot of fun, then I'll listen to gameplay. Like Sick for instance, him and the crew when they was playing Ghost of Tsushima this past weekend, they sounded like they were having a lot of fun. So that would have been a situation where if they would have been playing while I was at work, I still would have listened because they sounded like they was having a lot of fun. So um, yeah, you said you're right. At least you can walk in and get one. Sick. That's true. But you know what? I'll say this. If it wasn't for the mandatory Facebook login, these Oculus Quests would have been sold out. That's the only reason why they have not sold as much as they should have, is because a lot of people got turned off by the mandatory Facebook login. You got to connect a Facebook account to these headsets. Because it's definitely worth the $300. I said it on Twitter. I think the best way to describe the Oculus Quest 2 that just came out, if the PlayStation 4 vanilla is worth $400 and then the PS4 Pro comes along and it sells for $300, wouldn't it be worth it? That's the situation we got with the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Quest 2. The original Oculus Quest sold for $400, and then the Oculus Quest 2 comes along. The headset has double the pixels. It's got 2 extra gigs of RAM. It's got the Snapdragon XL, which is, I guess, way more better, a lot better than the Snapdragon 830. What was it, the 839 or 835, whichever that is. And I've seen it. Yeah, I'll get to the mandatory Facebook login in a second here, Sick. Let's see here. Thrash, the only way they come through is if you acting all dumb and childish while playing. I get that too. Matrix, don't expect to find PS5 on store shelves for the first month. I've already come to the conclusion that I probably won't be able to get a PS5 until mid 21 or late 2021. And I'm over it now. I was hurting for a minute, but I'm over it now. I really do think Sony dropped the ball with the pre-orders. They tried to blame the retailers, saying that the retailers broke street date, but I'm not buying that because, if the retailers broke street date, okay, they broke street date. But what about the people that got all these notifications where they say click to sign up so you can get in line for a pre-order? We hadn't really heard much about that. I still hold on to my theory that I think Microsoft caught them off guard with that November 10th release date versus the 12th for the PlayStation. And I think that's part of the reason why Sony started putting all these units on planes. I think it was a situation where, I don't know anything about the business part of it. This is just a theory that I had. I think once everything fell into place for Sony, according to how they planned on doing it, I kind of think that Sony was probably planning on releasing the PS5 like right a couple of days before Thanksgiving. But I think Microsoft threw them a curveball with their November 10th release date because I firmly believe that both Microsoft and Sony have proven in the past that they've been in a foot race to try to get out the blocks first. I think they both have this philosophy that whoever gets out first is going to have a leg up on the competition. It happened this generation. The PlayStation 4 came out first. I think it came out about a week before the Xbox One, $100 cheaper and a little more powerful. So I think Microsoft is trying the same tactic. A little bit more powerful console, same price, but trying to get out the blocks first with their pre-order date. Now, I might be reaching, but I think once Sony might have found out about Microsoft's release date they probably had an emergency meeting. It was like, based on the way everything is going with marketing and shipping units to North America by boat, what's the soonest we can release this console? And they might have said, November 18th. We got to find a way to get those units there sooner. Well, if we put them on a plane and do this and do this and do this, what's the soonest we can get them there? November 12th. I might be reaching, but I kind of think that's how that might have happened. Because I think if that Xbox comes out November 10th and the PlayStation comes out November 28th, they're going to lose a lot of sales. So I that's just my belief. I think they got caught off guard, and Sony was making a mass scramble to try to make their release date come as close as possible to the Xbox release date, because they probably can't get in front of them. Project X, what's up? Xbox has much less units. They do. But I think they have a better chance of selling them if they get on store shelves before the PlayStation does. Because there are going to be some people who are going to want a PlayStation, and if they can't get one, they might go ahead and buy an Xbox just for the simple fact that they can't get a PlayStation. Because there's going to be some people out there that just want the new shiny hardware. See here, name, we'll just call you that. After VR, I don't give a crap to flat gaming anymore. Next gen consoles is Quest 2, specifically giving PSVR legacy paperweight on PS5. Yeah, that's the biggest reason why I'm not hurting that I didn't get a PS5, because we probably ain't gonna get the kind of VR stuff that I want from Sony. We ain't gonna get it from them until 2021 anyway. So that's why I'm not hurting. As you all know, about 95% of the reason that I want a PS5 is because of VR, and Gran Turismo is that was the game that made me want to have a PlayStation day one, was Gran Turismo. PSVR will work on PS5 with backwards compatibility. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. From what I understand, the PS5, I think it's supposed to emulate a PS4. And that's how we're going to get backwards compatibility with the current PSVR. That's how we're going to be able to use the current PSVR. But I think that when the new PlayStation VR headset comes out, this current shit's not going to work. Now, people, the VR community has made a little bit of an issue about the new PlayStation camera, that you're not going to be able to use it on the PS5. But based on some of those patents that I've seen, I think Sony might be planning on using that camera for full body tracking on the PS5. I think the headset itself is probably going to be wireless. The latest patent that we've seen suggests that the controllers could be an index knuckle style of controller. And I think that based on the patent that I've seen, I think that camera might be used for full body tracking. So once PSVR 2 is up and rolling, I think that's gonna be a wrap for the current PSVR. You just not gonna see that many games coming to the current PSVR. Everybody's gonna be moving on to the PS5, and in order for us to get the most out of PSVR 2 whenever it hits, they have to leave the PS4 behind, because those outdated Move controllers, I think, is one of the biggest reasons why we don't have near as many more games as we could get. Because I think I've been hearing about developers having issues trying to map those controllers to the Move controllers because they don't have thumbsticks. Project X, you said I'm 0-3. Couldn't get a Series X, PS5, or RTX 3080. Yeah, I'm not really going to worry about that until sometime next year. Sick Humor, you believe Sony that put out more consoles had pre-order opened first, got caught off guard with Xbox Series X that still have no games with ray tracing? Yeah, I believe they got caught off guard. I think that Sony tried to play the waiting game. like, okay, we're gonna wait for them to announce their price so we can top it. We're gonna wait for Xbox to do this so we can top it. And I think Xbox played along with them and tried to act like they was getting caught up in the price war and try to act like they was going back and forth with Sony about this and about that. I think meanwhile, behind closed doors, I think they were going through procedures with the proper entities to try to secure a release date that was gonna put them in front of the PlayStation. So I think when all was said and done, Sony, you know you're going to win this generation. You know you're going to control the mind share. That being said, I don't think you should have been worried about what Xbox is doing, because you're going to outsell them, 10 to 1 anyway. So they shouldn't have been worried about what Microsoft was doing. Go ahead and go about your business like you have been doing. Go ahead with your release date. Go ahead with this. Go ahead with that. They shouldn't have let it be known that they were sitting back waiting for Microsoft to come up with a price so they can match them or undercut them. Just do what you're going to do and don't worry about them. So how do you get caught off guard but you're more ready? They might have been more ready in the sense that they thought that they were moving at their own pace, but I think I find that to be a coincidence that Sony was concerned that not enough units was going to be in the hands of everybody, so they're booking all these crazy ass flights to bring these PlayStations here, and then we learned that the Xbox is coming out November 10th, and that's what made me believe that they got caught off guard. I think it's a situation that I think there's a bunch of PlayStations on a boat right now that's on the way here or whatever, and it's not going to get here until, maybe it wasn't going to get here until like November 20th or something like that. And it was like, okay, well, if we put them on a plane, what's the soonest we can get them there? November 8th or whatever. Give them a couple of days to process the orders and blah, blah, blah. Okay, November 12th, that's what we're going to go with. So I could be wrong. That's just the way it looked to me on the outside looking in. Now, somebody within Sony or Microsoft could say, you smoking crack. It don't work like that. Cold Yogurt, you said you don't know how that PSVR adapter is going to come out. Yeah, I mean, I would like to think, I would like to think they're going to have enough of those. And I think that Sony's only going to send those out as needed, because they're not putting them in a box. You got to get a hold of them for them to send it to you. That being said, I think they're only going to manufacture them on an as needed basis. Yeah, there was no question that the demand for the PlayStation was extremely high. But I still hold on to that theory that I think the November 10th release date of the Xbox Series X put Sony in a mass scramble. Just hypothetically speaking, it's probably not going to turn out like that, but hypothetically speaking, let's just say that Xbox actually has a few loose orders, where like a few loose consoles where people could just walk into the store and buy one, like the situation with the Oculus Quest had happened. There's going to be some people out there that might take a chance November 10th, figure, hey, I got nothing to lose. Let me go ahead and walk into Best Buy and see if they got a couple of, loose units. If that happens and they happen to have a couple of loose units, they're going to sell them. And that's a couple of sales that Sony would lose out on. Now imagine that happening on a grand scale. Drew, can't believe anybody going to switch to Xbox just because it's a week earlier, maybe for other reasons. Let's just say I had some people admit to me that they simply want the shiny new hardware. So they did say they're going to get an Xbox. And Sick, you said so high that some people who pre-ordered have to wait till December to get it. Yeah, that's crappy. Yeah, I kind of heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this a situation where people thought they were going to get the consoles day one, and then they get a notification from Sony or whoever they pre-ordered from that it's going to ship on this date. Matrix. Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. You can't underestimate them. I think Sony thinks like that. I think Sony did, but they didn't underestimate them. I think they didn't underestimate them from the simple fact that, okay, you're my opponent. You're on the other side of that ring. In that aspect, no, I can't underestimate you. But I think Sony did underestimate them by assuming that they could take their own sweet time with the handling of the PS5. You know, drip feeding this information to us and making it pretty obvious that they were waiting for Microsoft to go first with the price thing. So, said even if Sony already outsold them, how do they lose out if they are already sold out? That's true, but I'm still wondering if both Microsoft and Sony like gonna allocate some of this stock for the people that want to try to take their chances and walk in. I think Microsoft might take that chance. Because even though they act like they don't give two shits about the Xbox Series X, I really do think that they're more desperate to sell that console than they let on. They act like they don't care if you buy that console, but I think they do care. I mean, why did they, when Sony showed us that Unreal demo, why did Microsoft have to come back and be like, well, we could do it too, you know? So they definitely want to sell that console. I think they're a little more desperate to sell their console than Sony, even though they know they're going to get outsold 10-1. Cold Yogurt. It is true. Series X is using 20% power for audio making it 10 teraflops. Matrix, the Xbox Series X, 12 teraflops. Some people are obsessed with power. Will you buy the Series X to get better frame rates and resolutions? I won't buy anything that's got the name Xbox on it. There's no reason to. My Xbox One S is already showing signs of getting ready to kick the bucket. Once it kicks the bucket, or once my Xbox Live membership runs out, whichever comes first, I will completely wash my hands with the Xbox brand. Sick, you said the only way you lose out is if both products are on shelf and someone chooses one over the other. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying. Like, what if it's a strong, you know, what if by chance both Sony and Microsoft say, okay, we're going to set this many of them aside for the people that want to try to walk in, you know, day one and just buy one off the shelf. If they do something like that, then Sony going to lose out on a couple of sales from people being able to get to the Xbox first. So, also sick, he said, I'm sure he is slim. Renting games nowadays sound great to someone. Oh, boy. I just can't get behind this Game Pass shit. I could get behind Game Pass if they gave you the newest games. We know the Microsoft first-party games are trash. We know that other than that, Game Pass is full of games that's like way over the hill or games that never did any good to begin with. So, whereas PS Now, on the other hand, even though I don't really get down with subscriptions, but if I was to go that route, it would have to be PlayStation Now. You got way more titles and way more compelling titles in there. So, okay, I see I got a conversation going here. Sick and Matrix. So I guess before we went into the Sony Microsoft thing, I was gonna talk about the situation with the Facebook login on the Quest 2. Um, the way things are sitting right now, if you're already grandfathered in with like a Oculus Rift or the current Oculus Quest, you won't be required to connect the Facebook account to your Oculus account until like 2023. But if you do get a new headset, you will be required to connect a Facebook account to it right now. I don't have that much of a problem with the Facebook account with it being mandatory because I found that out a couple of years ago. I tried to send my son a message over the Oculus network and he didn't respond, and he ended up telling me that I couldn't respond because I don't have a Facebook account. So it was a couple of years ago that I had learned that you can't unlock all of the features of the Oculus platform unless you have a Facebook account connected to it. So I knew it wasn't a matter of if, but when they were going to make it mandatory. So that moment has finally arrived. I don't have that much of a problem with it because as a content creator who was using the Oculus headset to do a lot of my streaming, I knew there was going to be a situation sooner or later where I was going to need to connect a Facebook account to my Oculus account. The biggest problem I have with it right now is that I think Facebook has something amazing on their hands right now with the Oculus Quest 2, and you can't create a dummy account sick because Facebook is watching for that. They have an algorithm that looks for certain characteristics, and if that algorithm determines that your Facebook account is fake, one of two things will happen. They either will not let you connect it to your Oculus account, or worse than that, they may suspend your Oculus account as well, locking you out of all your games. So Facebook, in so many words, have already said they're on the lookout for fake accounts. JD Max, you said you moving to G2 for this reason? Yeah, so my biggest reason with the mandatory Facebook login is the kids. Because the Oculus Quest 2, or even the standard Oculus Quest, this thing is catching so much fire that, like, I think kids are going to prefer the Oculus Quest 2. I think they're going to prefer it over the PlayStation, over the Xbox. I'm talking like 10-year-old kids. I think they're going to prefer it over the PS5, over the Xbox Series X. And hell, I've even said it. I dare say that they may even invade some of the Nintendo Switch territory. I think the developers, of Apex Construct, first day sales of the Oculus Quest 2, when the Oculus Quest 2 got released, they had a sales increase of 800%. So the Quest 2 is definitely making a difference, but they could make a much, much bigger dent if it wasn't for that Facebook login. They're trying to force you to give up your info. Yeah, they made it clear. They want your data because, one, they want your data so they can study your habits, so they can try to run those ads in your direction, just like YouTube. So they want to throw those ads in your face. Another thing is it's going to make it easier to police the network if they know who you are, because it is starting to get there is starting to be some vulgar shit happening in VR, and some people get a little sensitive about it. So Facebook's going to be cracking down on that kind of stuff. They're going to be monitoring, just like so this like this situation that happened with Sony with them recording like the last few minutes or whatever you were doing. So if you get reported, they can go back and watch it. The same thing is happening over on Facebook. If you get reported, Facebook is going to go back and watch the last few minutes of whatever happened, and then make a determination from there. So that's another reason why they want your information. Another reason why they want your information is because they're trying to make VR a social experience. So with apps like Facebook Horizon and the overhaul that they did to Oculus venues, it is what it is. 800% from what number? 800% of like day one sales, like versus like how many sales they had on the first day of the original Oculus Quest versus how many sales they had on the first day of the Oculus Quest 2. So they're saying they had an 800% increase in day one sales versus the previous headset. See, Slim, oh, you talking to Drew. Matrix, I think Sony may turn their boat around and take over some Oculus Quest 2 territory, depending on how they do VR on the PS5, because in theory, PS5 will have much more realistic graphics and more fluid. But here's the thing. Facebook is aiming for mass adoption because they took a hit with the Oculus Quest 2. It's got the latest processor in there with the Qualcomm Snapdragon XL. It's got the latest processor in there. The panel has it's an LCD panels. They save some money there, but the panels got double the pixels. Long story short, they are aiming for mass adoption. They took a hit on the console and they're selling this console at a loss. So I think how successful the PSVR 2 is going to be, it's going to be successful. The question is what does Sony want from it? Do they want mass adoption, or do they just want to retain, their own customers? Because I said it before, especially with casuals, I'm a strong believer that price brings them to the front door. Content will keep them there. Shit, the PlayStation is stone cold proof of that. A console that was $100 cheaper than the Xbox, a little more powerful, no digital rights management. That, then they got a little bit of a jump on the release date on the Xbox One. That brought everybody to the front door. The games kept everybody there. So Sony's, I know they're going to put hellified technology into the headset on PSVR 2. We know they're going to put hella technology on there. The question is are they willing to take a massive hit for mass adoption, or are they just content with retaining their own customers and say, we ain't going to sell this headset at a loss? Because I think that was the situation with the current PSVR, that they refused to sell it at a loss. So even though the current PSVR, when it launched at $500, even though it was the cheaper of the major three headsets, it was still $500 was, And at that time, I was saying that your peripheral should never cost more than your base. I thought it should have been the other way around. I thought that the PS4 Pro should have been $400 and the PSVR should have been $300 or even $250. You had a PS4 Pro costing $400 and having the headset cost $500. I thought that was ass backwards, but it is what it is. Sick, you was considering the Quest 2? If it wasn't for the mandatory Facebook login, because some people consider Facebook to be the evil empire. If it wasn't for that, I would have been like, man, you gotta get this headset. I would call like the Quest 2, I would call it like a Nintendo Switch Pro. It's still a hybrid headset where you could take it everywhere with you and play standalone games, and then bring it home and connect it to the PC and play PC games. But the headset got more power. And it's cheaper, $100 cheaper than what the original Quest was. At $300, I don't think you can beat that with a hammer. But that Facebook login turned a lot of people off. Matrix, according to rumors, the VR capability is baked into the PS5. So in theory, that will make the PSVR 2 cheaper to produce. I think they are willing to take a hit. I hope you're right. But here's the thing about it, though. I have heard that PSVR 2, that it could be wireless, that it could have inside-out tracking, that it could have eye tracking, it could have facial tracking. I've also heard that it has the ability to read your vitals, like your pulse and blood pressure. Not, well, I ain't gonna say blood pressure, but like your vitals. So I guess the headset is going to be able to detect that, like you might be playing a certain game. It's going to be able to detect that you might be getting motion sick. That it's going to be able to detect whether you're getting stressed out, and then the headset will flash you a message telling you that you should take a break. You know, I've heard that kind of stuff. You know, that's some crazy ass technology to be putting into a VR headset. They do that. I don't know if they're going to want to take that big of a head. You know, take that big of a hit. You said you wouldn't take it outside of your game room? Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, the portability doesn't move me with game products. I can totally understand that, but it's going to serve as a PC VR. It's going to serve as a PC headset just as much as it will a portable headset, because Facebook is discontinuing this current Oculus Quest. They are discontinuing it, and they are discontinuing the Oculus Rift S. This is one of the reasons why I believe Microsoft did not get on board with VR. This is what I meant by when I was trying to tell you guys that Oculus is moving too fast for Microsoft. Let's go back and talk about the headsets that Oculus had. I don't know when the Oculus Rift DK1 came out. I don't know when that came out. But I know that headset was out for a couple of years. Then we had the Oculus Rift that I believe came out in 2016. Excuse me. Then what? 2018. I think late 2018 we got the Oculus Rift S. No, I think it was May of 2018. And then sometime in 2018 we got the Oculus Quest. Now here it is, 2020. Now we got the Oculus Quest 2. If Microsoft would have partnered up with Oculus, you know how many different headsets you would have had to buy to remain in the ecosystem to play VR on the Xbox, with Oculus coming out with a new headset every 18 months or every 2 years. This is why I was saying Oculus was moving too fast for Microsoft. And I think that's why they didn't get on board with VR, at least because Microsoft don't take any chances. We know that. Microsoft knows that VR is growing. They know that VR is going to end up being a gold mine. And like I said, I've said in the past that when it's time for Microsoft to jump on board, you know, they waiting there with their plate and fork, waiting to get a piece of that pie. When the time is right and they decide to do it, they're going to call somebody to come set up camp. They are not going to build their own headset. I think their plan was to call Oculus and was like, all right, get over here, set up camp so we can run this VR shit. But I think with Oculus coming out with a new headset every 18 months, every 2 years, and now you have a new headset coming out and you make it mandatory for people to tie a Facebook account to it, I think that just does not fit in with Microsoft's plans. I think Microsoft, if they were going to get on board with VR, I think Microsoft wanted somebody who was going to have a headset that they were going to support for 5, 8, 10 years, not 18 months. That's just not going to set in well with everybody. If you put the Oculus Rift on the Xbox platform and then 18 months later you tell them they got to upgrade to the Oculus Rift S, and then 18 months later you tell them you got to upgrade to the Oculus Quest 2. And then, since Facebook is in a foot race with Apple to try to come out with these AR glasses, because I've said that before, I believe these augmented reality glasses are going to replace the smartphone as we know it. Facebook already has this shit in they're already experimenting with this shit. They already got people walking around on the street with AR glasses that are basically smartphones. So that future is going to happen, and I think that's Facebook's ultimate vision, is to try to dominate the AR space. With that being said, I can't say how long they're going to support the Oculus Quest 2. being that their overall vision is AR. So sick. You said I'm thinking I might just go with the HTC Vive. If you're gonna go with the HTC Vive, I think you might as well just stick with the Oculus Rift that you have. The original HTC Vive, by today's standards, it's an old headset. There's gonna be serious screen door effect on that headset, and the headset's been discontinued. How many headsets have I bought in the past 2 years? If you count the ones that I gave away as well, let's count them. So the first headset I bought was a PlayStation VR, bought in 2016. That was the one I gave to Craig Harris. That's one. Then I bought, let me see, another one. I bought this one right here. That's two. That headset kind of took a crap because the screen went out on it. The headset still works. It still lights up. But the screen went out. So that's two headsets I bought. Then I bought a third one. I bought a third headset that I'm using right now. So that's three. And then I bought one and sent it to Titanfall Princess. That's right there. That's four headsets right there. Just on PlayStation VR. Now let's talk about the other headsets. The Oculus Rift, the very first Oculus Rift that I bought, I sent that to BitCloud. Then I bought an Oculus Rift S. It took a crap, and I had to take it back and get another one by way of warranty. So where are we at? We're probably at about 7 headsets now. Then I bought an Oculus Quest. So I think we're at 8 headsets. Because I bought an Oculus Rift for my son. Bought an Oculus Quest. And then you can see by these boxes here. Let me slide back a little bit. I bought, by these boxes here, there's 2 right here, and a third one. I bought 3 Oculus Quest 2s. So, damn. I lost count somewhere, sick. So, I'm just going to say I probably bought 10, 11 headsets since making that jump to VR. Before the Oculus Quest 2 came out, I was going to strongly consider buying a Valve Index or an HP Reverb G2 next year, but I don't know. The Oculus Quest 2 looks like it's probably going to be the all-in-one headset, so I don't think I'm going to be buying any more headsets for a couple of years. So I think some of the things that's on my bucket list that I need to do is I want to get another computer for streaming, because this computer that I'm streaming here from right here, this is a bare bones PC. I bought this PC about 10 years ago. I bought it for the purpose of backing up my disc, if you know what I mean. So yes, I bought this computer with the purpose of backing up my disc. So it was imperative that this computer had a disk drive, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this I never thought that I would be using this computer to stream YouTube podcasts. So this computer is too weak. That's so when I stream from this PC, that's why a lot of these streams look weak and choppy and stuff like that, because this computer just don't have any nuts to it. So being that I probably won't be able to get my hands on a PlayStation 5 until the middle of next year or late next year, my next order of business could be to buy another PC so I can buy a streaming PC. Also on my bucket list for next year, I'm planning on getting a 3070 and then upgrade to an i9 and give the i7 in my PC to my son. Sick. You said this man went from consoles to VR headset. Yeah. And Cold Yogurt, you said you got three of them. Sick. You said I like VR, but flat screen gaming is my shit. See, but when I first made that jump to VR, when I first embraced VR, I was still flat screen first. When I first made my YouTube channel, I was playing VR, but flat screen was still my thing. Go back early in the beginning, man. All them MLB The Show streams that I was doing, all those Gran Turismo streams that I was doing. Yeah, I did a lot of those streams. And then some slowly but surely, man, like VR just took over me because I can't say it enough times. Like when it comes to gaming, every generation or every game that comes out, you want the game to be more immersive than the previous one. A first-person shooter game, you want to be able to do, you want the game to be more interactive than the previous iteration of the game. And to me, it doesn't get any more immersive and any more interactive than VR. You shooting at somebody in VR, you know, you shooting at somebody in a flat screen game, you run out of bullets and you got to reload, you got to press a button and then the game reloads for you. In VR, because of how immersive it is, your gun run out of bullets, you have to physically snatch the cartridge out of the gun, grab one from your belt, pop it back into the gun, pull the slide, and then start shooting again. That's interactive as hell. Not only is it interactive, it's strategic because you have to take cover because it actually takes longer to reload in a VR game than it does a real game. You know, a flat screen game. It said, Sick, you said if you're going to get a 3070, just get a 3080. The biggest reason why I was saying I was going to get a 3070, I did a little bit of research on the 3070, and I think from what I'm understanding with the 3070, I won't have to put a new motherboard in my PC. But I'm not sure, but if I go up to a 3080, then I might have to put a new motherboard in there and a bunch of other shit. So that's the big reason why I went with not only that, I think I had read that the 3070 will fit inside of my Alienware PC, but the 3080, I think that 3080 might be a little bit bigger than the 3070, so it might not fit in my PC. That's another thing to consider too. I really don't want to sell my PC, especially as much as I paid for it, and I don't want to take a massive hit on it, so I just rather upgrade it. Sick, you said VR is great, but it still feels limited to me. These games are getting more and more interactive, though. If I had to choose, I would wait for the 3080. Now, I'll put it to you this way, Sick. I gotta do some research. So if it turns out that 3080 will fit my Alienware and I don't have to change the motherboard and all that shit, and I don't have to rip the whole PC apart to get it in there, I'll go with it. C Slim, you said for my PC, I have I think you're trying to say a PCI Gen 4. See, like, I only know what I know about what I'm working with. You know, and as far as the Intel CPUs, it's like if you tell me you got an i5, i7, i9, I kind of got an idea, what you might be working with. But if you just throw some old random numbers at me, then I'm not just gonna know what you're talking about offhand. I'm gonna have to do some research on it. $2K Ronnie, what's going on? Cold Yogurt said you will also need to upgrade to a water cooling system. Might be better to build it yourself. My Alienware is liquid cooled. But I will say the PC runs hotter when I'm using VR. It does, because I think no way around it. VR taxes your PC more. Sick. You're not going to get the full effect with these new cars without a 4.0, especially with the direct to storage stuff. So I'll look into all of that stuff when it's time. But truth be told, there's a strong possibility that it may not happen, because my son is going to be 15 in May, and it's going to be time for me to start getting ready to put him through driver's training. I'm already, talking to my brother about getting my son a car. If I don't give him my Acura, so one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to give him my Acura and then get a different winter beater for myself, or I'm gonna, probably shovel out a few racks and get my son a car. So that's something to think about too. So all that stuff comes into play. So I actually got my plate full for the next couple of years. So Saber, in terms of story content, VR games aren't there yet. What? You wrong there, Saber. I mean, did you not play that amazing Half-Life Alyx? It may not be there in terms of devs not wanting to go out of their way to produce these type of high-budget games. You might be right in the sense that it's not there yet, but in terms of the headsets not being capable of doing it, you wrong there, because like Half-Life Alyx, the graphics on Half-Life Alyx is comparable to a lot of some of the best looking games that's on flat screen right now. Half-Life Alyx and Lone Echo are by far the best looking VR games that I have ever played, and they both have current gen graphics. In most cases with VR, a lot of the graphics are a whole entire generation behind flat screen, because a lot of these VR games look like something right out of PS3 or even PS2. But no, Half-Life Alyx, Lone Echo, that looks like some shit that, those games look amazing. And if you got a clear enough headset, you will be absolutely blown away by those games. Let's see here. Kevin, you said motherboard doesn't make a difference with graphics card, only storage. Okay, let's see here. Sick, you said don't update any of these cards if you're not going to update the motherboard and processor. Yeah, I definitely planned on updating the processor. I got an i7 9700K right now, and I was going to update to an i9. But again, that's something that I gotta look at what I think is what I think might be the best fit for me. Cold Yogurt, I see you telling Saber you'll get more exercise than couch playing. There ain't no question about that. No disrespect to anybody, but yeah, you play games like Beat Saber, Thrill of the Fight, any of these workout games, you're gonna lose some weight. Even if you got a fucked up diet and you eat garbage, if you play these games every day, you're gonna lose weight. I mean, it got to the point where I had to stop playing these games every day, because it's already bad enough that me having diabetes, that I lost a good amount of weight from the diabetes, but working out is also part of what I need to do to stay healthy. But I'm telling you, if I would have played shit like Beat Saber and Thrill of the Fight every single day, I would have been down to 150 pounds by now. Saber, you said Half-Life Alyx isn't on par with top-tier Sony content. When VR gets back-to-back games like God of War or The Last of Us 2, I'll be more interested. And that could be where we're going. That's why I was saying that in order for us to get these kind of games from Sony when PSVR 2 comes out, they have to leave the PS4 behind. Because you'll never get games that look like that if they have to include the PS4 in it. But Half-Life Alyx is an amazing game. I think like games like God of War, I think the biggest thing that makes games like God of War, even though it's a flat screen game, look a little bit better than Half-Life Alyx is the HDR and all that shit. I mean, but Half-Life Alyx looks amazing, I'm telling you. So does Lone Echo. And it is a high budget AAA VR game because I think there's like 15 hours of gameplay. Hell, with Asgard's Wrath, there's between 25 and 30 hours of gameplay on that. And that game, the file size is 130 gigs for a VR game. That's unheard of. See, Slim, you're telling Sick you have the Ryzen 7 3700, 8 core with a Gen 4 getting the 3070. Sick, you said RTX is built into the card. Why buy them if you're not going to take full advantage? Yeah, you're right. Cold Yogurt, you said VR gamers are more a threat than flat screen gamers. Saber, you said, yeah, I'm sure Sony is coming out with great things for PSVR 2. It might take a few years, but I think VR is going to be Sony's ace in a hole. Because I think some of these blockbuster titles might have VR support. Like, for instance, the rumor of a new SOCOM game that could be coming to the PlayStation. That's a good game that you could see with VR support. That's a game that you could see on PlayStation VR 2. And if that happens, you're going to see an amazing looking game with the power of the PS5. And I think something like that, would be a system seller. If Sony were to do something like SOCOM and add VR support to SOCOM, I think it's going to have enough success that Activision might get up off their ass and finally jump into the VR pool. See, I think some of these people are just waiting around, like Microsoft, just sitting around with their plate and fork and waiting for VR to turn into a gold mine and then run in there to try to get their piece of the pie. Even though they didn't take chances and built, VR. Sony took a chance and Oculus is taking VR to the next level with the Oculus Quest, but we wouldn't have gotten where we're at right now if it wasn't for Sony. Sony put VR on the map. It's just Oculus is taking it to the next level. And I think that's going to be Sony's ace in the hole. Is they're going to make some amazing exclusives next generation for VR. And I think we're going to get our first dose of it with Gran Turismo 7. I think they're going to give us what I've been wanting in the first place. Multiplayer and the ability to play against a full grid even when you're playing offline. That's the only thing that's wrong with Gran Turismo Sport right now. As far as the VR part of it goes, you can't race, no multiplayer. You can't race a full grid. It's one-on-one against the AI. So, like I said, as far as the PS5 goes, I'm good for the moment. But if Sony was to come out and say, Gran Turismo 7 is going to launch on this day, it's going to support VR, we know it's going to support VR. So I don't need Sony to tell me that part. I just need them to tell me that it's going to have multiplayer and the ability to race against a full grid, whether you're racing online or offline. If they say that and then say that Gran Turismo 7 is going to come out like November 15th or something like that, now I'm going to be hurting. Now I'm going to be crying. You know, now I might be looking around wondering if somebody wants to sell one of their pre-orders and that kind of shit. So right now it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. When PS5 releases and I see all these unboxing videos, it's going to hurt, but at the same time, I'm going to love to see it too. So, yeah, again, Sick, Thrash, I know you ain't been in front of a camera in a while, Sick, you know, but I still hope you do an unboxing video. You know, same thing, Thrash. So anybody who gets a PS5, I hope to see an unboxing video. Because as far as video games goes, November 12th, the world is going to stop. So we had our moment with the Oculus 2, the Oculus Quest 2. We had our moment. So come November 12th, it's going to be y'all turn to shine. It's going to be the PlayStation people. It's going to be their turn to shine. What time it is? It's almost 11 o'clock, so I'll be ready to wrap this up in a few minutes because I want to get a little bit of gaming in before I call it a night. One thing I do want to say next before I call it a night. Next week, when my son comes over, he comes over every Saturday. He wants to stream VR chat. He wants to stream Five Nights at Freddy's in VR. And he wants to stream, I think, Onward or Pavlov. And I'm going to let him do it, but I think I'm going to have him do it on Twitch because I really need to start trying to draw up some traffic on my Twitch channel. And I think he can definitely draw in some, you know, because VR chat is extremely popular on Twitch. So that being said, you know, pop in, show them a little bit of support, show them a little bit of love. You know, if you follow me on Twitter, my Twitch channel is in the description. There's a link to it. So subscribe, you know, or follow me on the Twitch page and check it out next weekend when my son comes over. Check out some of the streams. So I mean, as far as that goes, as far as my son goes, I have been thinking anyway. That's been one thing that I've been thinking about. You know, he'll be 15 next year, and I think when he turns 16, I think it'll be okay to let him have his own YouTube channel if he wants, or turn this channel over to him, and hand this channel over to him. Let's see here. Who retweeted? Craig. Thanks for the retweet. That's another thing. On Twitter. I don't know what that alert was, but whatever that alert was, it's probably a new sub. Whatever it is, thank you very much. Because I definitely don't have any kind of PayPal or super chats or anything like that. So obviously that alert couldn't have been a bad thing. So whoever sent that alert, I definitely appreciate it. Let me check the notifications. Oh, there it is. New subscriber, Saber Zero. Appreciate the sub. So, but I do want to warn you, Saber, that this is mostly a VR channel. I am a VR nut, and so much to the point that I'm probably won't be back to flat screen games. There's some exceptions to the rule, like God of War was an amazing game, great game, and I love the story more than anything because I saw a lot of myself and my son in the chemistry between Kratos and Atreus. I mean, my son and I don't fight. You know, I'm not having that shit. But my son was asking a lot of questions at the time. You know how it is. Kids reach that age where want they want to know this. Why is the sky blue? All that kind of shit. So, but yeah, mostly VR. This channel was mostly VR. But when you have those absolute diamonds like God of War, yeah, I'll play those once in a while. So, but yeah, this is mostly a VR channel. If you go through my library, you'll see a ton of VR videos. That's fine. I'll definitely be getting a PSVR 2 when it drops, so I could always use more info on VR. Oh, definitely. I mean, I still play the current PlayStation VR. Honestly speaking, the only reason, Crow, what's going on? How you doing? The only reason why I don't play the PlayStation VR as much as I used to, there's two issues with it. One is the Move controllers. They don't have thumbsticks. I don't like teleportation as the travel method. The other thing is that some of the games that I like to play have tracking issues like Firewall. The tracking issue in Firewall makes all the difference in you getting a kill or getting killed. But I still do PSVR streams here and there, because I did a lot of streams a couple of weeks ago with the Star Wars Squadron streams. The majority of those streams was I did those on the PlayStation because it was just a lot more. It was a lot easier to do it from the PlayStation. Just click go live, and that's the end of it. You can go live. Whereas on PC, I had to, for Star Wars Squadrons, I had to open up like 7 apps in order to stream that game. I had to open up the Oculus app because you can't use the Oculus headset unless that app is open. I had to open up the Steam page. I had to open up Steam VR. I had to open the game itself. I had to open OBS in order to stream it to YouTube. I had to open the Explorer so I can get to my YouTube page and then pop the chat out. So that's like a total of 7 apps. So it's just a lot easier to run that stream on the PlayStation. And Star Wars Squadron, I think, is an amazing game. I love it. And naturally, the PC version of that game looks better. It's crystal clear. But the PlayStation VR version of Squadrons looks good for what it is. Therefore, I don't really care which side I play it on. I have it on both PC and PlayStation VR, and that's the one game where I really don't care which way I play it. Whichever way I roll out of bed, that's the way I'll play it. So I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in on a night where I did a stream where I didn't have shit to talk about, but you guys kept the chat going. You guys had some interesting conversations, and even challenged me with a few questions. So I definitely appreciate it. This was definitely an interesting stream, and I hope to do this again. Maybe I'll look into doing something like this on Sunday nights, because normally this time slot would be reserved for my boy Draco Rex, but he hasn't really been doing the Winning Hand podcast lately. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm still going to stay out of his way whenever, I try to stay out of all my friends' way, but if it's a situation where, I don't got something going on a Sunday evening and he's not doing anything, then I'll definitely do this again on a Sunday evening. Crow, I see a lot of negative reviews on Reddit about OLED to LCD transitions and how it breaks immersions. What are your thoughts on it for PC VR? Now, the OLED screens, yes, there's no question about it that the OLED screens have deeper blacks, but I think the blacks on the LCDs of the Quest 2 is fine with me. I don't have a problem with it, and it doesn't break immersion for me, but at the same time, I don't play horror games, and horror games are the games where you would need an OLED screen, because horror games have a lot of dark spots in it, moving through a house at night or something. So maybe that's what they're talking about that breaking the immersion. They could be talking about horror games, but I have not really had an issue with it. I I haven't seen something that's supposed to be black and it looks gray and it turned me off or something. I don't really see that much of an issue with it. You said you're getting your Quest 2 this Tuesday. No, I do want to forewarn you about the Quest 2 before I get out of here. There is a couple of things that I think people need to be made aware of with the Quest 2. One is, and I can use this original Quest right here for an example. Right here, when you put it on, you kind of have to pull it down over your face, otherwise it will let a little bit of light in. The other thing is, when you leave the headset in standby, like if you leave the headset on standby and you don't have it on a charger, it will be dead by the end of that day. Whereas the original Quest, I could leave it on standby, and I could leave it on standby for 2 or 3 days. Now, once I put it on and start playing it, then it's going to start chewing up battery. But as far as standby goes, yes, the Quest 2, it happened to me. Now, this is crazy. I got up in the morning. I was going to put my Quest 2 on the charger, but I decided not to do it because I didn't want it sitting on a charger for 8 hours while I was at work. So my thinking was that I will put it on the charger when I get out of work. Now, I'm at work, and I get an alert on my phone. I check the alert, and the alert is from Oculus. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing sending me an alert? It was the headset. The headset was sending me an alert, letting me know that it was down to 6% on the battery. Now, ain't that crazy? I pulled out my phone, saw that Oculus alert, opened it, and it said your headset is down to 6% battery life. So be mindful of that. The other thing, when you use the Oculus Quest 2 as a PC VR headset using the link cable, it will still use battery. It won't use it as fast. And the other thing is, I think with the Quest 2, for all the extra shit that they put inside the Quest 2, I think they might still be using the same battery as the original Quest. Therefore, I think it runs the battery out faster because you're dealing with a much more powerful headset. So, with the Oculus Quest 2, battery life could last me 2.5 hours continuous. I think in the case of the Oculus Quest 2, battery life will probably last you about 1.5 hours continuous. So that's something to be mindful too. But that was a simple solution for me because I just went to the store and bought a $7 external battery pack for a smartphone and taped it to the back of my head. So, but still, despite those little things that I pointed out to you, along with the Facebook login, I still think that headset is well worth the $300. So, in any case, you get yours Tuesday. Make sure you holler at me when you get it Tuesday. Send me a friend request on the Oculus as well as Steam. So, as far as PlayStation goes, I hate to say it, y'all. For all this time that I criticized Xbox, because all I really do with my Xbox is watch YouTube on it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't play with my PlayStation Pro that much anymore. I don't really do flat screen games anymore. And as far as PlayStation VR goes, if Star Wars Squadron hadn't came along, I probably wouldn't be touching my PlayStation that much. So, that being said, other than the friends that I've already got on PlayStation, I haven't really put it out there like, hey, send me a friend request on PlayStation, because I'm not playing games on there that much. But Oculus, you'll find me on there at least once a day, even if I'm just sitting down chilling playing Poker Stars. Speaking of which, that sounds like a good idea. So, but I'm going to go ahead and boogie on out of here, y'all. I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. This was definitely a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. And we'll see about doing this again next Sunday evening, assuming Draco Ricks leaves the spot open. So, thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good night. Make sure y'all play a lot of games. And I'm still going to be watching everybody playing Ghost of Tsushima. that looks like a lot of fun, and I enjoy watching everybody play it. I think this weekend was a great weekend for gaming. You know, a lot of us on the Quest 2 played a lot of games, and a lot of people played Ghost over the weekend. So a very, very fun-filled weekend for gaming. So keep it up, y'all. All right, I'm going to boogie on out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all know the line. Thanks for tuning in, Cold Yogurt. Appreciate it. Y'all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king. Deuces. Catch y'all later.